guys, so Brazil, a usually strong track for a lot of people because well, a lot of people enjoy driving it. It's quite fun, very twisty and turny. So without further ado, let's get into it. It's coming into the first corner. Steneres. It's important that the braking that I find, it's not one that you can brake later than the game tells you to, because it's very easy to overshoot it. And as you can see, I'm putting a lot of lock in early and then aiming to put this front left tyre on the inside curb, then quickly apply maybe half throttle. As you can see, this is interesting. I was messing around with this quite a lot. Not sure if any of you noticed, I changed my diff to 60 coming so up the hill out of the last corner. I changed it to 60 so that coming into this first corner I had more traction, and I found that this helped me quite a lot to not lose the car. It allowed me to be a bit more aggressive on the throttle on exit. So you can see I short shift to fourth on exit hit, and then I go back to half throttle and then onto full throttle again. So we get a tiny snap, but it's nothing. There you go, diff back to 50. It's nothing that you would normally expect, because I was really struggling to control the car previously. And now through this corner, again, it's just about carrying speed. So it's effectively a double left, but the only real corner is this first left-hander here. And I go down to fourth gear, and you've got to just throw the car in. For those of you who are running ABS, it's a much easier track because braking becomes far simpler. I was doing a few ABS off laps, and it was much harder to try and just throw the car into corners, which you really can do. And then here's the second left, which is basically non-existent. Now this corner, I'm sure, is very hard on pad because you just throw the car in. You can see dab of brake, double downshift, then as early on the power as you can be. Sometimes I tend to run wide on exit when you get like a tad of oversteer. You can see wheels wobbling a bit. Nonetheless, we keep it in track limits, and then this sector, I suppose sector 2, was very good for me. So I went down into second gear, short shifted back to third, coming out of the right hander, and that was all fairly good. As you can see, we're up on the delta by nearly a tenth, but that's dropping because we run wide. My preference would to be tighter and then to move to this line here. So I think coming in at this, it's easy to explain here. So if you're coming in like this, your optimum line is to go in and like this, whereas we went in wider and then up and down. So if you're trying to imagine yourself coming into the corner, you want it wide, tight, clip the apex, then go wide again, down, because you want to use this inside curb as much as you can, but as much as the car on the inside curb as possible. Slowly, literally dab the throttle on because the traction's so hard to get. Short shifting is definitely advised out of here. That's all we do, because we get that kick of oversteer, but we gain quite a lot of time on exit there, as you can see, nonetheless. And then again, another corner where the line's very important because it's almost a bowl shape. You can't really see it in slow-mo, but I know you'll know from driving it feels a bit like a bowl. You're dragged inside. So the traction's actually not that bad on exit. You can be a bit more aggressive because you're carrying more momentum than you usually would. But again, it's all about your line in, hug the inside, then on exit, use the width, keep the car as much as you can to the left here. It'll just gain you extra time. If you feel in the race, maybe not, I wouldn't recommend it because the car can get a bit wayward. But at least in time trial and in quali, completely hold it to the left. This corner for me isn't particularly good on this lap. We just go a bit deep. Normally I'd use a bit more of this inside curb, so it just allows you to get on the power earlier. We get a kick of oversteer, but then nonetheless, up on the delta, and then stick to the left as much as possible. Like, it's really because it just gains you extra time. There you go. 16572, not a bad lap, definitely some time in it, but I hope this is useful.